this year's celebration of Women's Month, Juana, laban sa pandemya, kaya, forces me to ask these questions to myself. Kakayanin ko ba? How resilient can I be? That led me to self-evaluation. I am a mother of 5. My eldest is now in college. 2 are teenagers, a grade schooler, and a toddler. And a wife to my perfectionist husband who constantly inspires or forces me to do and be better. To top it off, I am a lawyer, an educator, and a school administrator, and an entrepreneur. Any woman would agree that it is indeed difficult to carry around this feat. With all these complex roles, how resilient can I possibly be? So I googled resilience, and what came out was, it is the ability to withstand adversity and recover from difficult life event. My choice in life forced me to face this virtue head-on. Let me share to you my journey that had convinced me that I am a resilient woman. That whatever problems that will come my way, I know I can overcome. So here is my story. Love struck me so early and so strong. I did the most ridiculous person could do for love, saying yes to marriage after 2 months of courtship. I got married at age 22. We started living with my parents-in-law. We had difficulty adjusting to our married life considering our very short engagement. We barely knew each other. Then we had our first child. We had the next, and then another. Before I even realized it, I was already a mother of 3 at 25. It was also at that time when my husband was diagnosed with generalized anxiety and obsessive-compulsive behavior. I struggled through all that when I was still in law school. One night in law school, when I was on deck, and the professor had been questioning me for about an hour, I could no longer give him the correct answer, as my body was so tired and standing. I am 7 months pregnant at that time. He scolded me, asking how can I pass the bar if I'm always pregnant every year? Mag-alaga ka na lang ng mga anak mo. So gender discrimination? But I consider it more of a motivation. In his loud voice, he told me, set your priorities right. Then, it hit me like lightning bolt. I suddenly knew what I want. Yes, I know what I want. I want to give my family a better life. I want my children to be proud of their mother, a woman who is determined to define her destiny. I want to make a difference as an educator and a lawyer. After that night, I was determined more than ever to finish law school. During the most challenging times of my life, I was able to rise above my circumstances by understanding my strengths and weaknesses. I could never be the best and brightest in law school, so I studied hard, prayed harder, and slept lesser as well. I studied at school until evening with or without my professor. I'd be a mother to my toddlers once I get home. With one failed exam, I studied even harder for the next. I pursued to be the most persistent student there was. With positive perspective in life, I was able to achieve a certain level of success. I finished law school with honors, passed the bar exam in 1 take. We started Phoenicia Foundation College with less than 100 students in a dilapidated building. Now the school has modest building standing in Pioneer Avenue, featuring 2,000 students. I was able to set up a real estate brokerage company that goes along with my other duties. Our marriage has been able to survive for the last 18 years, and my children have grown up doing quite well in school and now pursuing their dreams. My life may not be perfect, but I am perfectly contented and fortunate with it. Then just recently, a quick spreading pandemic shook and took the whole world by storm. As proactive as I can be, I always try to turn problems as opportunities for growth, and with confidence, I can rise again above the situation. Can I? Before all that, I was once a young girl with no idea what women empowerment was. There was never a moment in my life when I questioned gender-based assumptions, nor being discriminated on account of my gender. Growing up as a teenager, teachers introduced to us the concept of feminism, and this was defined as a belief that men and women should have equal rights and opportunities. It is a theory of political, economic, and social equality of the sexes. I accepted the concept, but in my young mind, I perceived that the ideology would make a woman too strong, aggressive, and intimidating. I grew up in a family where female potentials were recognized. We were encouraged to pursue our passion in whatever field we choose. My mom, a mother of 5, used to be a clerk working on an 8-hour shift when we were younger. Family duties did not stop her from growing professionally, as she is now in the final semester of her doctorate degree at age 62. My sister Bing is a biologist who loves to study buds and caves in the country and is also finishing her doctorate in the University of the Philippines. Another sister of mine, Ting, a graduate of Philippine Military Academy who has now the rank of Major, acquired an additional title as Masters in Public Administration. The wives of my 2 brothers, Cheryl and Garda, are public school teachers and both are holders of their respective master's degree. My sisters-in-law, Raya and Irish, are also done with their postgraduate studies. Raya earned her doctorate degree in Japan as Mambusha Scholar. Par, the wife of my husband's younger brother, is a licensed nurse who is also a master's degree holder. Wow! Speaking of gender equality by educational standards, our family gets full marks. We are privileged to have a head of a family like my father and father-in-law who see women as equal to men, and that women are not just mere supporters. I grew up in the gated community within the school grounds of Mindanao State University and General Santos City. In our neighborhood, almost all mothers are professionals, with most children being academic achievers. And for the longest time during my younger years, I saw myself as a sheltered young woman, more of a Maria Clara. I barely spoke my mind or heart out since I never felt the need to assert myself in a supportive environment where I dwell. Outside the sheltered environment, I stayed away from useless argument and focused on self-determination. I refer to myself as a silent worker who tries to put a dent on other people's lives. I am far from a feminist, strong, determined, and outspoken Juana. This was until I became a lawyer. A woman dropped by my office with a swollen face, bruises, and shattered heart. It was a case under Republic Act 9262, or a case on violence against women and children. We investigated and looked into all evidence to build the case. Sadly, we did not proceed with the trial. She detracted because she was so dependent on his husband's resources that met her and her children's need. I offered her my free service. She declined with a weak voice saying, "Attorney, I don't have a choice." It pierced my heart. If only she was educated and given an equal opportunity, she could have had a choice. I started my investigation on similar cases. A lot of women's lives are far from the life I have seen and lived. I felt their pain. I realized that I was destined as an advocate for women empowerment and rights by using my influence as a lawyer and an educator. As a lawyer, I felt litigation is not my calling. After all, I pursued law school to equip myself as an educator, which I believe is my passion. As a school administrator, I use my position to encourage young girls and women to be educated and to urge them to believe that they can mold their own future. They have a choice. They should never depend on their husband or from anyone to get what they want in life. We have a kasambahay, Grace, who is now working in one of our schools, occupying a key position having obtained a master's degree. 3 of my kids, Yaya, Pam, Queen, and Joyce, are now working as my office staff and supporting their families. They took the challenge of sending their siblings and relatives to school. All of them were the first to graduate from college in their families. Another of our kasambahay is an indigenous person, Ablaan, who will be graduating next year. She will be the first college graduate from her clan. Imagine the impact she could have in her community if she succeeds in her endeavor. We created a system of education designed to be accessible to working students. 80% of our students are working. You name it all. Ayaya, labandera, fast food crew, sales lady, real estate agent. Some are even working mothers in their 40s. A few years back, I remembered one day I was working in my office when I was informed that one of our students in social work department attempted suicide. I learned that she was a rape victim. She was from North Cotabato. After giving birth, she ran away from home because of shame. She tried her luck in Shenzhen and applied for odd jobs to finance her education. Due to life's hardship, piling debts, and failing grades pushed her to her limits. We lobbied her TRED scholarship. Thankfully, she got it. Now, she is a licensed social worker and happily supporting her daughter. These accomplishments by some of the most amazing women I know are my greatest fulfillments as an educator. These accomplishments by some of the most amazing women I know are my greatest fulfillment as an educator and advocate for women's rights. I led them to believe that their fate lies in their hand. My role as school administrator and educator leans not only on motivating and inspiring women. There have been many challenges. And then, an unprecedented challenge came beyond anticipation. A pandemic shattered the whole world that also threatens the institution we are trying to build for the past 10 years. March 15, 2020, a nationwide lockdown was announced. I told myself it was a breather from a hectic schedule I've been living for the past years. Now I have more time for my family. At the start, I cleaned all the clutter at home, got into gardening, learned online platforms in conducting my lectures, conducted Zoom meetings. Everything went so well, but after 6 months of being confined at home, I felt so drained, learning technology and at the same time taking care of my toddler, attending to all the needs of my children. Then, my husband's anxiety manifested again. I have also witnessed the struggles of my children in their online classes. My eldest started to doubt the course she is taking and felt that it would not serve her life purpose. All these uncertainties and pressure of her studies put a toll on her mental health. How hard it was for a mother to see her family having difficulty in coping with these challenges. Then more fear started to creep in. How long will this pandemic last? I have this fear of transmission to members of my family. I'm worried about my aging parents and father-in-law. It seems that there's a storm inside me shattering my being. I was worried about my employees not getting paid, losing a lot of students, the school shutting down, and in fear of not being able to support my family, especially my children, and all the students I've been helping to succeed in life. At some point, I felt so helpless and weak. I lost my sense of direction. So I thought, do all the things I've been through not enough for me to carry on? After the longest time in my life, I doubted myself. In concern of my mental health, I had a word with my psychiatrist. I was told that I should accept my fears and acknowledge my feelings. I started to contemplate and meditate on the things that had been happening. For the first time in my life, I chose not to act. I tried to be kind to myself. I let go and I let God. In the silence of my heart, I heard the whispering of my soul to take it slowly, moving forward, one step at a time. Women have ups and downs aside from the hormonal imbalance we encounter each month. But as a mother and as a leader, we have to gather our remaining strength for the people around us. It was not easy coping with the changes brought by COVID-19. My team had tried to learn things on whim, and we did not have the luxury of time to do so. We had to learn everything about conducting online classes and distance learning programs, preparing instructional materials, organize virtual meetings, making online consultations with clients, learn more from seminars, webinars, workshops, and all the changes helped me realize one important fact: that business can be made and done easier, that we can give a better service, We used and made the most of social media for our marketing strategies and schemes. We launched our own institutional mini-series, CFC Diaries, and was uploaded through Facebook and YouTube. We developed an online enrollment system using available resources, updated and improved the school system, and learned new ways to carry out everything during the pandemic. Eventually, everything actually worked out. To my surprise, problems encountered in life really do open our eyes to new opportunities. We don't know what the future may bring. As a woman who has a role in our family, community, we have to strengthen our faith that God will give us the strength and resilience to fulfill our purpose. The joy and challenges that I experienced in raising and molding my 5 amazing children, leading a youth-inspiring institution that improved lives, especially of women's confidence and well-being, with one small act of kindness at a time. I hope that we all can empower one another, our city, and even the world we live in. This is where I find pride in my contribution to society. I will forever be in humble gratitude that I was born a woman with the ability and drive to touch and influence the lives of others. I firmly believe that women's resilience, strength, and most especially her education would empower families and communities and economies as well. If each of us passionately fulfills our role as a woman, be a mother, a leader, an entrepreneur, a health worker, a community organizer, or be a national leader, not only in this time of pandemic, this generation and the next can live a better world. Sa mga kuwanang lumalaban, patuloy na sinusulong ang karapatan ng kababaihan, patuloy na nagmamalasakit sa sangkatauhan. Maging huwaran ka ng lahat ng salinlahing Pilipino. Isang masaya at makabuluhang pagtitipon sa ating lahat.